I had the honor of representing the OSS Society at several events leading up to this year's 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion, watching U.S., British, and French Special Forces jump into the same landing zone that was used by OSS Operational Group PAT in the south of France in August 1944, presenting replicas of the OSS Congressional Gold Medal to the DGSE, the French Intelligence Service, and to the Visitor Center at the Normandy American Cemetery, unveiling a plaque in Hurley outside London commemorating Station Victor, a critical OSS communication station. Standing on the cliffs above Omaha Beach on June 6th, D-Day, I was awed by its expanse. The courage of the American soldiers who stormed this beach, facing German fortifications, machine gun and artillery fire, and the Rangers who scaled the cliffs at Pointe du Hoc is inconceivable. Courage defined General Donovan's character. He went ashore on June 7th, defying a direct order from Navy Secretary James Forrestal. Father Francis Duffy from the legendary Fighting 69th Infantry Regiment said General Donovan was one of the few men he knew who enjoyed combat. Donovan's political courage enabled him to form a close relationship with President Roosevelt, despite their strong political differences, to protect the United States. When General Donovan brought a .22 caliber silenced pistol to the White House, President Roosevelt told him he was the only Republican allowed in the Oval Office with a gun. His intellectual courage welcomed unconventional ideas. It challenged the status quo, and it encouraged others to do the same. And this evening's honorees, Tom Higgins, Shannon Kent, Nicholas Lavery, and Secretary James Mattis, have demonstrated the same forms of courage. So did a number of heroes from the intelligence and special operations communities that we have lost over the past year. The Viscount John Slim, the son of Field Marshal William Slim, who commanded British SAS. CIA Operations Officer Charlie Seidel. General Eldon Bargewell. General Eldon Bargewell, who commanded Delta Force. Colonel Sully DeFontaine, who served with OSS and SOE. And my father, Dan Pinck, who served behind enemy lines in China and inspired my passion for OSS. I'd like to ask everyone who has served in the intelligence and special operations communities and the U.S. Armed Services to stand so we can thank you and your families for your dedication, your sacrifice, and your service. We are extremely honored tonight to have the Acting Director of National Intelligence here, Admiral Joe McGuire. Admiral McGuire, if you'd please stand so we can thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you. Your legacy will endure when the National Museum of Intelligence and Special Operations is built. Its design was inspired by the spearhead, a symbol that was chosen by General Donovan as the OSS's insignia and embodies its spirit. The museum will honor Americans who have served at the tip of the spear, educate the American public about the importance of strategic intelligence and special operations to the preservation of freedom, and inspire future generations to serve. When the idea for this museum was in its embryonic stage approximately 10 years ago, I met with world-renowned architect Kurt Fentress, who's here tonight. And his design of this stunning building was inspired by the spearhead and the wings of the bald eagle. And I'd like to congratulate him for the museum being selected as the recipient of a 2019 American Architecture Award. Kurt, would you please stand? There you go. Secretary Mattis is the first Marine to receive the William J. Donovan Award. He personifies General Donovan's legacy as a strategist and a warrior. He follows in the footsteps of Marines who served in OSS. They included Colonel Peter Ortiz, the recipient of 2 Navy Crosses, Sterling Hayden, who received a Silver Star serving in the OSS Maritime Unit, the predecessor to the Navy SEALs, Colonel William Eddy, who led OSS intelligence gathering for Operation Torch, the invasion of North Africa, and Colonel Frank Farrell, who was decorated for conducting hazardous missions in the Pacific. The Marines and OSS were a perfect fit. Both organizations had exceptional leaders, recruited unusual people, and encouraged innovative thinking. Secretary Mattis wrote, "The Marine Corps nurtured some of the strangest mavericks and most original thinkers. It does not suffocate intellectual freedom or substitute regimented thinking for imaginative solutions." Burton Gerber, the legendary CIA operations officer who is here this evening, he said that over the course of his career, the best case officers were Marines. And this explains why so many have served as Deputy Director of Operations, including Frank Archibald, John Bennett, Steve Kappas, Mike Sulik, and Greg Vogel. Marines are taught to adapt and improvise and overcome, and the combination of these qualities is the reason they make exceptional intelligence officers. I can't think of two organizations with a greater esprit de corps than the Marine Corps and OSS. In fact, the OSS Maritime Unit and the Marine Raiders trained together at Camp Pendleton. Now, I hope I haven't lavished too much praise on the Marine Corps this evening. They're perfectly capable of doing that themselves. Secretary Mattis has underscored the critical importance of America's alliances to our national security. Tyrannical forces are testing the North Atlantic Alliance, an alliance that evolved from the crucible of D-Day, an alliance that has kept the world at peace for 70 years. We must have the same courage to fight tyranny like the Allied soldiers who stormed the beaches of Normandy. General Donovan would expect nothing less from us. Thank you.